Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing an episode on trinomial factoring. So today for this episode, we're just going to be covering trinomial factoring with 3 examples. And for the third example, we're going to have a special guest come on to answer this question. So stay tuned for that one. You wouldn't want to miss it. Anyways, so now you've probably seen your teacher explain this type of form. So they've probably been explaining ax squared plus bx plus c, where a could equal any number, and you've probably seen the rule along the lines of x squared plus bx plus c, where you have to find 2 numbers that times to equal c and add up to equal b. So today we're going to be using that same type of method, if you will, but we're also only going to be considering a equaling 1. So let's get started with the first example. Now for the first example, our a, obviously for all the questions, our a is 1, our b is going to be 2, and our constant, or c, is going to be 1. So let's get started with this question. Now, as mentioned previously, the rule that we want to do is that we want to find a number that adds up to be this, that adds up to be 2, and that when times together is equal to this number, is equal to 1. Now, the way we're going to do that is that we're going to basically say to ourselves, okay, what numbers times to equal 1, what 2 numbers I should say, times to equal 1 and add up to equal 2? Well, the answer to that will be 1 and 1. So we have 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, and 1 times 1 is equal to 1. So our 2 numbers, so we're gonna have x, and our 2 numbers are gonna be positive 1 and positive 1 for the second number as well. So that's gonna be the answer to our first question. So we have x plus 1 times x plus 1. Now for the second question. Now I encourage you to pause the video at home and try to see if you can figure it out. Now I've assumed you've tried it, and for this one, we're gonna use the same logic that we did for the first question, or like the same method that we did for the first question for this second question. So okay, we have our b is -7, and our constant is 12. So you have to find 2 numbers that add up to, that times to equal 12, and that add up together to equal -7. Now those 2 numbers would be -3 and -4. So our 2 numbers here, so we have x. So our first number is going to be +3, or sorry, -3 rather. Our 2 numbers are going to be -3, and our other number is going to be -4. So that's for question 2. Now, as promised for this video, we would have a special guest come up here to do question number 3. So here he is, my math teacher.
All right. So Ryan invited me to this video so I could help you guys do a harder question. Do you want me just to do it, Ryan, or do you want to ask me questions?
Yeah,
or?
so
So pressure, okay. So he gave me the difficult one, I suppose that's fair. So this one looks different than these other 2, do you notice? Because there's a number attached to the x squared. So there's 2 cases where that's going to show up. One case is a difficult case, the other case isn't so difficult, and I'm going to show you the not so difficult case. What you do is you look at your 3 terms in the trinomial and see if there's a common factor. So notice that 2 and 2 and 24, they're all divisible by 2. So they all have the common factor 2. So what I could do as a first step is remove the 2. Now I don't want to just divide it out and put it under the rug. No. I got to show it like I'm reporting it. Reporting today, common factor 2. So put it there, your teacher wants to see that. When you take it out, you're going to divide it out. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, so x squared, and then plus x minus 12. And you know that's right, because if you were to expand that back through, or fish it through, or foil it, or whatever you want to call it, you're going to get that back. The 2 has to stay there. Don't drop it. So keep the 2, and now you're back to what the questions were like with Ryan. You're just asking for two numbers that times to give negative 12, at the same time adds to give positive 1. Now, when I was younger, I used to have to write them out because I couldn't remember. So I would go 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. And I know that one of those numbers has to be negative because it times to give a negative number. In this case, it looks probably like 4 and negative 3 are going to work. So I remember that you got to remember the form. You got to know that the answer is a bracket, 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 bracket. You just have to remember it. So you put an X here and an X here because you're going to memorize this. And then you're going to take these two numbers and drop them in just like that. And bada bing, bada bang. And that one is combining a greatest common factor plus trinomial factoring. It's a double whammy.
Perfect. Great to have you here. So
Anytime. I'm going to leave. I got marking to do. Bye.
Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment anything you want in the future. And as always, have a nice day everyone. Bye.